Hello Gemini, Jessica here with Cardinal Signs. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to your decision reading. So we're going to be looking at two paths with this reading. What I need you to do before we begin is just take a moment to sit with the decision that you have at hand and assign one of your choices to be represented by path 1, which will be the first spread, and the other choice to be represented by path 2, the second spread. Now to start off, we're going to talk about the messages coming in for your two paths. For path 1, I see that you're stepping out and testing the waters. Getting your toes wet is coming up here. So you may be feeling a little bit cautious about path 1, and maybe you want to get a taste of what this path is all about before you commit to it fully. So if that opportunity comes up, you try it out and take it. That way you feel more comfortable before you commit to it. For path 2, this path feels quite stable and secure. It almost feels like going back home, like to your childhood home or something. It has that kind of warm, welcoming feeling to it. You know what to expect. You know what's waiting for you. And I'm hearing blast from the past, so this may be something that you've done before or considered previously. So let's see what the cards have to say. This is for Gemini, for a choice or decision to be made, running from mid-July through to mid-August. What does Gemini need to know about path 1 and path 2? This is a bonus card in the Osho Zen Tarot. So this card represents a lot of wisdom for me. So that's nice to have that overlooking your reading. What does Gemini need to know about path 1 and path 2? For choice or decision. Ooh. Cards are quite jumpy for you today. We've got the Lovers, and I'm going to put these cards back in because I want it to be very structured. But the Lovers is an inherent choice to be made. It's a choice between two things, both of which we are very fond of. This can, for some of you, be a choice between two people. What does Gemini need to know about path 1 and path 2 for a choice or decision to be made, running from mid-July through to these cards do not usually jump so much. Courage. So this is courage and strength that you will have these resources to be able to draw on. I see you being very resourceful here. Alright, let's try to finish shuffling. So, what does Gemini need to know about path 1 and path 2 for a choice or decision to be made? We'll stop it there before any more cards come out. Okay. Overall energy for path 1, Gemini. We have the Four of Pentacles, the Miser. Two things to consider with this choice. We have the Tower, the Thunderbolt, and we have Integration. This is Temperance. Where this path could lead you, should you choose to go down it. Ten of Swords, Rebirth, and the Three of Pentacles, Guidance. Okay, that's nice. Overall energy for path 2, we have the Seven of Wands. Two things to consider. We have the Queen of Wands, Sharing, paired with the Outsider. This is the Five of Pentacles. I'm actually going to just pull these over a little bit closer to you. Okay, now where this path could lead you, should you choose it. We have the Seven of Swords, politics, and the Three of Swords, isolation. Okay. Let's start off by talking about path 1. So, Four of Pentacles, the Miser. This is you, perhaps a little bit of resistance here. I feel like you're only maybe half into it, and there's a little bit of skepticism, and this would kind of explain why I was seeing that desire that you had to try it out before you fully committed, because there's a little bit of skepticism coming in here where you're not quite sure that this is the thing for you, and you're perhaps holding on to what you've already got, even though there is the need for the decision. It's almost like a reluctance to make your choice. So hopefully we can clear that up. And indeed, you have very strong forces coming in here to break up that resistance. There's no getting away from this, Gemini, even though it can be a little bit uncomfortable. But the Tower is always exactly what we need. The Tower is an instant moment of clarity where we're able to see what really is. So it brings in the truth. It shows what is false and unstable, and it shows us which path will be best. It's almost like it clears the way or gives us permission in a sense. So I feel that that's coming in where you're going to feel like you're allowed to open up to this more fully. As with all things, balance is very important here. So I see that you already have this available to you where you're going to be testing the water. So that's great. I mean, you're not completely holding back, but you're not doing a cannonball into this new thing here. You're approaching this with an open mind, but also a very balanced sensibility. So I want you to continue with this because that's a wonderful way to approach making a decision. There's also looking at things from all angles here. As I said, being very open-minded and not overly judgmental either. So it's good. And you do have that wonderful clarity coming in. It's a bit of a shake-up, but it's what's needed in order to kind of get you going if you've been feeling stuck or unable to move. If you should choose path 1, where this could lead you, we have the 10 of Swords and we have the 3 of Pentacles. And right away what I got from this was cleansing. So we're clearing out the old and making way for the new. We are cleansing the things from, your life that are no longer serving you. This can be a painful process. It's the 10 of Swords. It's not always the prettiest thing to go through. But ultimately the outcome is very, very beneficial and rewarding. And I see that you have here with the 3 of Pentacles, this is the guidance card. You have a lot of support around you to help you as you grow and expand forward. So a lot of potential here for renewal. This is kind of like taking a new lease on life. So if you have been feeling rooted in place, stuck, stagnant, unable to move, things are coming in and shaking that up, and you are reinventing yourself, which is always a great thing. That's how we are able to make progress forward. Overall energy here for path 2, we have the 7 of Wands. Again, there's a little bit of resistance here. So for both sides here, I think just in general, Gemini, there is a reluctance and resistance to making this choice. And usually that stems from fear, and that is perfectly normal. Everybody is usually scared out of their mind when faced with a huge choice that has major long-term, ramifications down the road. So there's stress here, as you can see on this card. There's a juggling act. There's perhaps feeling overwhelmed. Now, the traditional meaning of this card is kind of being defensive, maybe putting up barriers, and we can see that quite clearly in this Miser card here, how there's actually a wall that has been built up around you and is blocking you off. And when that happens, life isn't able to flow freely, and we become stagnant, and that's when the Tower comes in. So if you're able to open yourself up and embrace these choices and embrace change, because there's change inherent in all choices, the Tower will be very much diminished, and it will be a lot easier and calmer of a process for you to go through. So just keep that in mind. You may feel a little bit on edge. There may be a tendency to flare up in anger as well. Now, two things to consider here. We have the Queen of Wands and we have the Five of Pentacles. This is a very odd pairing. They're very polarized here. This Queen of Wands is very open, so she's being depicted as sharing, very open, generous, and giving. She offers you all the help and guidance, love, and light that you need as you work through your choice here. This card here, the Five of Pentacles, is feeling like you have been shut out and left to your own devices, where you feel alone, you feel isolated, you feel like no one is around or able to help you, and there's kind of a hopeless feeling here. But I want you to really open up and ask yourself, who is this Queen of Wands? This could be anybody. I'm not even going to get into, which sign and all that. This could be anybody, male, female, an aunt, a friend, it doesn't matter. Someone is around you that is able to help you open up that gate that is blocking you and barring you from being able to move forward with freedom and clarity. This could even be yourself. You may need to draw on the energies of this Queen of Wands. Look within yourself for more light. Look within yourself for openness. Try to draw on your generosity of spirit. Maybe if you're able to help someone else who is struggling, it will in turn come back and help you. This, in general, this looks like a trickier option, to be quite honest. I never like to say, oh, this looks better than that or anything, because it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody has their own situation. But there is a little bit of, to be aware of, at least. This path is not what it seems. That's kind of the basic message here for potential outcome. So I usually see this the other way, but now that I'm looking at this, because I'm very much a silver linings person, so I think you feel frightened by this path. It feels overwhelming. It feels insurmountable. And I think you are afraid that it's going to be ugly, basically, and uncomfortable and unenjoyable for you. It almost feels like you're having to give up some kind of joy and lightness here. and there's a huge feeling of compromise. However, I think it's not going to be quite as bad. We do have a smile shining through it all. Okay, so I'm hearing brave face. So I see you putting on a brave face, you know, even if it's not peaches and cream. I see you being able to smile through it all and at least have a sense of humor about it. Now you do have the Three of Swords, so there is still some disappointment perhaps. It's not necessarily the easy road. And again, there's a sense that you are kind of like a trailblazer for this path. It's almost like, because we have the Five of Pentacles and the Three of Swords, the outsider and isolation. It feels to me like you feel all alone, like you feel like there's nobody else doing this. And that can be very daunting. But I do see that there is at least one person who is around you who's able to support you as you proceed forward. I'm going to pull an additional card of guidance for each of these two paths. What else does Gemini need to know about path 1? Additional card of guidance for Gemini for path 1. This one. Transition. Okay, well that's very appropriate here. So it's kind of like you're on the cusp here. And as I saw it, it was a fairly gentle transition. No cannonballs. This is kind of little baby steps at a time. This is easing into it. So allow yourself that if you're able to, like a nice, gentle, easy transition where you're able to take your time, feel things out, no need to rush. Additional guidance for Gemini for path 2. What else does Gemini need to know about path 2? Additional message of guidance for Gemini for path 2. This one. Centering. Okay. So I think this is going to take a fair bit out of you. Path 2. There's the need to really bring yourself into balance and alignment here. It's almost like you're steeling yourself for something. Not stealing as in taking, like stealing as in preparing yourself almost for battle, for something that you know is going to be very demanding. You have this energy coming in that is supporting that. So you're going to be able to draw on that inner focus, determination to help you forward if path 2 feels like the one that is best for you. So there's a lot of opportunity for growth and change and transition with both of these paths. Of course, I can't make the choice for you, Gemini. My hope is that some of these messages have resonated with you and have kind of clarified your situation, given you something more to think about as you make your decision. So I want to thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. Please feel free to leave me a comment down below. I love to hear how the reading resonated with you, so don't be shy. If you'd like a personal reading with me, you can email me at cardinalsignstarot@gmail.com, and there's more information on that in the description box below. So take care of yourself, Gemini. Good luck with your decision, and I will see you again soon.